Hey, once again, everybody, it's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here from my home studio, and it's Weather for Weather Geeks time, Tuesday evening edition. Nasty day to be outside today. It's just no fun out there with the wind and the colder temperatures, and yes, we had some snowflakes flying here and there. Today, it's easy to lose track in this kind of a pattern where it's consistently chilly in a time of the year in a transition season. It's easy to lose track of our averages. We're in a transition season where the averages are changing quickly. We're gaining a degree on those average highs and lows every few days now. And so our average highs, shown above my head, are in the low 60s. We have not had many average days of late, that is for sure. And we're not going to have a whole lot coming up in the next several days. And pretty turbulent time-lapse video from our Niles camera today. Changeable sky, gusty weather. Occasionally, yes, a rain or even a snow shower passed through the 422 corridor here in Niles and in other parts of our area today as well. All right, it's going to be a cold night tonight as the sky clears out. Now, it's going to be just as cold here locally as it will be off to our south. The reason why there are freeze warnings out for the areas shown, those are the areas in which the National Weather Service has declared the growing season has begun. Our growing season, typically defined as from the last freeze of the spring to the first freeze of the fall, that has not been declared as of yet. And so that's why we don't have freeze warnings, freeze watches, frost advisories put out for our region just yet. The growing season around here typically starts, as far as an average goes, during the first week of May. Now that's just an average. Of course, there's a variety. Last year, actually the last 2 years, the last 32-degree reading at the Youngstown Ward Airport was on April 29th. But it can be later in May. 2015, it was May 23rd. That was one of the latest on record. May 25th in 2013, another really late one. So there's some variety here, but typically, as far as an average goes, it is that first week of May. All right, with clearing sky tonight, we have a pretty good meteor shower for night owls or very early risers on Wednesday morning. Now, this is the LYRID meteor shower. And the one thing we have going for us tonight is there is a new moon. Not often do we see the peak of any meteor shower coinciding with a new moon. And a new moon really helps out the visibility of these meteors. When you have even a half full moon and certainly a full moon, that can really reduce the number of meteors that you can see. But in the ideal conditions, in the countryside tonight, away from those artificial lights, you can see 10 to 15 meteors per hour. Now, this is not one of the brighter meteor showers, but again, the new moon will help us out. And most of this will be well after midnight. So if you want to see any of these at 10 o'clock this evening, you're not going to really see many at all. You might get lucky and see one. But this is for night owls, early morning risers on Wednesday. Peak probably between 2 and 5 a.m. There's not many people out looking at the sky at that time of night. I realize that. But if you do want to see some meteors, you'll probably see quite a few late tonight and early tomorrow morning. Let's actually let me switch gears on you here and talk about the rest of our regional weather here before I get to the forecast this evening. Let's find this one. All right, let's talk about the forecast for the next 12 to 24 hours. Now, the sky clears out tonight. Cold night, mid-20s, as I just showed you, overnight tonight. Now, what about tomorrow? The good news tomorrow is that we're not going to have the wind that we had today. The bad news is it's still going to be pretty cold outside, about 15 degrees below average. Clouds will increase in the afternoon. Now, our model here may be overdoing the chances of seeing snowflakes tomorrow afternoon, but a sprinkle, maybe a flurry, that's going to be a possibility late in the afternoon. I think rain showers are a little more likely as we head towards sunset and beyond tomorrow evening. This is actually a warm front, and temperatures will rise somewhat in the wake of that warm front later on tomorrow night. Now, in the wake of that warm front, it will not be as cool on Thursday, but area of low pressure off to our south is going to start spreading rain in here. I talked last evening on Weather Geeks how there was some a little bit of a model disagreement on how far north that rain would get. There's much better model agreement today, so we've jacked up those rain chances up to 100% on Thursday. This is going to be mostly weighted towards the afternoon. Not a lot in the morning, but a soggy afternoon, light rain. Temperatures at least will get into the 50s instead of the 40s. Now, in the wake of that system, I think it's still pretty gloomy outside Thursday night into Friday morning, but I think this dry punch of air will finally work in as we get into the afternoon on Friday, and it should be a pretty pleasant, albeit still a little cool side, Friday afternoon with temperatures getting back into the 50s. As far as how much rain to expect with that weather maker Thursday and into Thursday night, here's a look at our current model spread. I'll get my head out of the way. The European and the NAM are on the low side, under a half an inch. The GFS, including the GFS ensemble, quite a bit higher, at least a half an inch and even an inch and a half on the operational GFS. I think these amounts are too high. I lean much more in the direction of the NAM and Euro. It's probably a half an inch or less, maybe 3/4, but probably a half an inch or less with our rain Thursday and into Thursday night. Don't think it'll be anything all that heavy. All right, I wish I had better news for the weekend forecast. We'll probably get away with a dry start to the day Saturday, but I think rain will become likely in the afternoon. Now, this is the European model I'm showing you, which is slower than the GFS with the arrival of the rain on Saturday. The European model, if taken literally, would hold off most of the rain until probably closer to sunset Saturday evening. Right now, you know, kind of splitting the difference between the two. We're going to say rain's going to become likely before the afternoon is through on Saturday. This is a pretty potent area of low pressure moving out of the lower Ohio River Valley and spreading the moisture our way. You see the isobars are pretty packed together here. So this is going to bring some wind, I think, especially on Sunday. And also because we'll be getting on the back side of this on Sunday, temperatures may really struggle. Maybe no higher than the upper 40s, and the wind will make it feel chillier. And this has a potential to be just kind of a gnarly end of the weekend on Sunday, with maybe some snowflakes in the higher terrain of West Virginia into a north central PA as well. And, I wish I had better news as far as temperatures compared to average. The Blues are winning the battle here over the next several days across the eastern U.S., with some moderation late this week, but another shot of cold for certainly the latter half of the weekend and into next week, with once again the warmth out west. There could be some records challenged in the western U.S. as we go into next week. Again, like I said last night, this is kind of the opposite of the pattern that we've been in for a lot of our recent months, with the exception of November. Winter featured cold, stormy weather in the west, and we had kind of a non-winter in the east, and that continued into March, but April proving to be quite a bit different. All right, that'll do it for me tonight on this Tuesday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. Make sure you're following me on all the social media channels, the Face Bag, the Tweet Face, and Instagram as well. All right, I'll see you back here tomorrow.